We live in a country where you have either all the rights or no right at all. You go out on the street, a little, like a police wala can stop you, can put you behind bars, and there's nothing you'll be able to do. It'll probably take you a year to come out of a bogus FIR in this country, right? Or you have all the rights in this country where you can get away with murder, and people do. So that the young men and women of this country have grown up seeing other people take their opportunities of them being deprived of what they think is rightfully theirs, and then not giving them any hope or future in this country. And these people are angry. And that's the core issue. The manifestation of that anger is what you see on social media, because there they can hide their identity and they can go after you and they can fully express themselves. I keep that perspective. So when I tweet something positive and there are 50 people trolling me, some of them I know, are tasked to do this. So there was a time I used to get riled up on that. I don't anymore. I don't even read the responses. The real downside of this is that some of this is not benign. This is the tail wagging the dog. So while you think, well, I've tweeted this and there's someone who's come in and from God knows out of where has cast this aspersion of someone being corrupt, or someone who's not loyal to the country, or someone who's not even a Muslim. Iske niche to, we don't even talk about this country. You're either ya gadar hain, ya corrupt hain, ya kafir hain. Iske niche to ilzam hi lagta hai is mulk mein. So if someone's done that, you ignore it. But then last time, for instance, when I exited the government, all of that became real. And there was a guy who came to my office. He was an anti-corruption inspector or someone. And he said, I have an anti-corruption inquiry against you. And, people know me, and most people who know me think that I'm not corrupt. So I could also sense a degree of, guilt in this inspector. Sitting in my office, I offered him tea, and then he asked me a question about buying phones for the agriculture department in Punjab. And this started out as a social media campaign of someone saying that I've made a huge commission from buying phones for the agriculture department in Punjab. And I ignored it because we had not done that project. It then eventually was planted as a news item in a third-tier newspaper. I ignored that too because there was no basis for it. And then, a few years later, literally 2-3 years later, someone comes to my office with a file in his hand, an inquiry against the same project. And I said, so he kept asking me all the same questions. Then I finally asked him, who told you this? What's your source? And he said, a newspaper article. And alongside this inquiry, he had stapled this small clipping of a newspaper story about this allegedly corrupt practice in some government project. And I said, I've not done the project, but what we can do, I can give you my affidavit that I didn't do the project, but we can get the Punjab IT board to come in and they'll probably give you the same affidavit because they've not done the project. And then we can get the agriculture department to come in and give you the affidavit that they've not done the project. And we can actually get the finance department or the planning department to come in and give you the affidavit. They've not funded a project like this. So if a project has not happened in the government, how could someone make money off of it? And by the time I was done, this guy had, was sweating, and he had beads of perspiration rolling down his forehead. He had no answer. He said, sir, can you kindly sign here so I can close the inquiry? And of course, he took some time to finally reach me and spent good about 6-8 months, I guess, chasing me or trying to understand where I am. In the meantime, my ID card was blocked by the anti-corruption court. So I wasn't practically a citizen of this country for good about 6-8 months. Just because my ID card was blocked because of this anti-corruption inquiry and a case and all of that was going on. Eventually, they closed down the case. And there was a case in NAB on trying to automate the High Court. There was a case in NAB on e-libraries. And the case there was that the e-libraries have PDF books and not real ones. And I was like, it is an e-library. So that was the entire purpose. But that's what you're up against. And And therefore some of this trolling is not benign. And I see that happening right now, where there are very specific people sitting outside of Pakistan who don't do it without purpose. They certainly have an agenda. They pick out on themes and sentiments that they know how to play. This is a whole psyops going on in this country, and orchestrated from outside of Pakistan, funded from outside of Pakistan. I can say that with a lot of responsibility, and that's not benign. And eventually that will translate into what I see. And I tweeted today about some startup program that we've started, and you see all the responses are, you go back home and we'll make sure that we make an example out of you. That's the gist of about 1,500 responses that I got on my tweet today. And the tweet was about a program that will enable our startups to get incubated in top incubators globally. How's that fair? You know? So, and now I've learned also that I can ignore it, but you should know this is going to continue and eventually culminate into something very unpleasant for me. But people like me still come in and do it.